Hey everybody, welcome to today's training video. This is quite simply all about getting your first sale with Amazon. It will work with other sites as well, not only Amazon sites, but the purpose is for people to get that first Amazon sale because it doesn't happen with everyone, but some people are running into a problem where maybe it takes 4, 5, 6 months for them to get an organic sale from Google traffic. And if that happens, you're kind of past your deadline for getting a sale with Amazon. Amazon close your account and then you have to open a new one, and it's a pain. Additionally, a lot of the reasons why people quit is because they don't see results fast enough. Like everybody understands when they start that it's going to take time, and everybody's like, "Yep, I understand that it's going to take time. I get it." But then 3 months later, you naturally start to think, "Oh, you know what? I'm not interested anymore." That just happens. And one of the reasons, one of the best ways of beating that feeling is to get your first sale and to then keep getting more. So that's what we're going to talk about. The strategies and tactics I'm going to talk about in this video do not rely on Google traffic. So that's why they're really powerful, and why you can go out and start this tactic straight away, and you could have your first sale in the next couple of days. So let's just jump straight into it. Okay, so we're going to look at forums, and then I'm going to jump across and we're going to look at something else, and then we're going to come back to forums later. So this is forums part 1. So the strategy is pretty simple. You're going to find 10 to 20 forums in your niche. I think actually let's just choose 10 to start with, and then later you can go and find another 10, another 20, another 30, like, as you know, every forum that exists in your niche. But let's just start with 10 in the beginning. What you're going to do is, if you don't know how to find forums, let's say your niche is shaving, just Google shaving forums or razor forums or men grooming forums. You can go broad, you can go narrow. Just, like if your niche is sewing machines, then you could do sewing forums. If your niche is running, you could do running forums, fitness forums, weight loss forums. So, just think anything that could be related to your niche. If you've got one of those niches where it's kind of quite narrow, like, I don't know, like printers, maybe you could you could go a lot broader, like DIY forums or home forums, or anything like that. So, think about the broader categories if you're struggling to find forums specifically in your niche. Then what you're going to do is you're going to create profiles on those forums, and 50% of them are going to be like you, and 50% you're going to create like a random person. So we need to test what works. So for example, let's say we're doing a shaving site again, and I am Dom on the shaving site. Like, I'm not using a fake name or a persona, I'm Dom. So 5 of them I'll create. I'll be Dom, and 5 of them I might be completely different, like Bob, Sally, probably not Sally if I'm doing shaving. So like Bob, Dave, John, Peter, just random different people. I'll give them different names, maybe even different profile photos if I can find some like stock photos and stuff like that. Okay, then you're going to fill out those profiles properly. You're going to fill out the about me. You're going to add a location if it wants to know that. You're going to add a profile picture. Some of them will have a URL section, and if it's one of the ones where you're being like you can add your website. But I think it's better not to at this stage, because the strategy we're going to do later, it's best if your profile is not linked with your website at this stage. So don't worry about URL, but basically make your profile look legitimate. I know it's kind of tedious, and if you're doing it 10 times, you want to cut corners and stuff, but it really is worth it to take the time and fill it out, so that later on, when you are basically posting in the forums and doing this strategy, they're going to think you're a legitimate person and you're not just an internet marketer trying to make some quick dollars. Okay, then you're going to find a few threads in the forum that you can comment on. You may just want to comment in one. In fact, once you've created your account, it's probably best if you don't just jump straight in and start commenting, because that probably looks a bit suspicious. Because most people, when they first create an account, they just read different threads and find out different bits of information. So the only one I would recommend you start commenting on immediately is the kind of introduce yourself here thread. And you can just say like, hey, I'm Dom, looking forward to participating in the community some more, something like that. You know, you don't need to write an essay. You don't need to think, oh, what am I going to say? I don't want to sound like I'm BSing. And, you know, just feel something basic like, hey, I'm new to the forum. Happy to be here. I've read a few threads and it looks like I've joined the right community. Look forward to meeting you all, something like that. Okay, and then what you're going to do is, over the next few days, like, I don't know, 10 days, 3 days, it really depends how much time you have. Basically, what you want to do is you want to kind of just start slowly engaging with the forums. So if you've joined 10 forums, maybe you can comment on one thread on 5 forums on day 2 and one thread on 5 forums on day 3. So, and then you kind of rinse and repeat, so that by the time your account is, say, 7 days old or 10 days old, you've commented on 2 or 3 threads. Now, the reason you're doing this is because it makes your account look more legitimate. You want to look like a real user who's joined this community for the right reasons. You don't want to look like an internet marketer or a spammer who's just going to create an account, say, hey, buy my stuff, and then leave. A lot of these forums, they actually have limits. Like, you can't post an account, and you can't post a link until your account's 2 weeks old or 1 week old, or until you've commented in 10 different threads, because that's a really easy way to find the spammers, because first of all, the spammers just drop links as soon as possible, and also the spammers just comment with like, great, nice post, and really fake stuff like that. So you want to, I mean, you don't have to write long essays, but just find a few posts and just start engaging. Like, if there's a kind of thread for beginners, you can comment and say, wow, this really helped me, thanks a lot. I have a question, blah, blah, blah. Just stuff like that, so that you're looking like a real user and a beginner. And I know this will take a bit of time, but you only have to really spend 1 hour a day. So in terms of physical time spent, it's like an hour a day. The only downside is you may have to wait 2 or 3 weeks before you can go to part 2. It depends. Like, some forums, your account might look legitimate and be able to create threads and post links after 3 days. Some of them it might be like 2 weeks. It depends on the forum. So you're just going to have to, like, what I recommend is you create a spreadsheet and write a list of all 10 forums, and what the posting rules are, like how often you can, how many posts you need to make before you can create your own discussion or before you can add links to chat, and just, you know, any notes like that. But for now, we're not going to drop any links. You're just going to join in the discussion and kind of make your account age more. So the next thing we're going to do is Facebook groups. So Facebook groups, you can start doing stuff straight away. So basically, step one is to go and do the forums, like I just said, and then you're going to spend a week or a few days kind of maturing your account, like I just explained. And in the meantime, we're going to do some Facebook stuff. So goes without saying, to do this strategy, you will need a Facebook account. It's a lot better if it's real, if you've got friends and everything, because some Facebook groups, when you join, they're going to look at your account, and if you look like a spammer or someone with like no friends, they might delete your post. I know that when people join the niche site entrepreneurs Facebook group that I run, if they start posting stuff and I look at their account and it's clearly brand new or fake, then I just ban them from the group. So if you do have a real legit Facebook account, use that. Then what you're going to do is you're just going to search for groups in your niche, and hopefully, just like with forums, you're going to find loads of different groups. Just start typing keywords into Facebook and you'll find groups. And any group that has like more than a few hundred members and obviously is an English speaking group, that's fine. You're not going to join like an Indonesian group with 5 members in. I mean, you could, but what's the point in this case? So the good thing about Facebook groups is you don't need to worry about letting your account age, but what you should do is read the rules. A lot of Facebook groups will have like a file or a document, or they'll have like a sticky post with the rules. So just read the rules. Like most of them are pretty reasonable. You know, they say don't spam, don't self-promote. If you've got a question, ask it like this. Just read the rules and make sure you're not going to get yourself kicked out straight away. So with this Facebook group, what we're going to do is we're going to pretend that we're a beginner who wants advice. So we're basically going to be coming into these Facebook groups and saying, hey, I've got a question. I'm interested in buying whatever product. I've been checking out this website and this article is quite helpful. I'm interested in one of the products on this article. What's your opinion? Do you have any experience with these products, and what do you think? And in the next slide, I'm going to show you a script, and we're going to I'll walk you through it. So basically, you're not going to admit that it's your website. So if your website has a photo of you in the sidebar, or has your name as the administrator or whatever, and you're posting it in the Facebook group with your name, people might call you out and say, hey, this is your site, I know what you're doing, don't spam here. So maybe create the posts with a different name on your site, or hide your photo or something like that. So let's look at the script. So here it is. Here's an example of what I would do if it was a shaving site. So I might just post in the group and say, hey guys, I've been thinking about getting into proper shaving because I find all the different styles of blades pretty interesting. I decided to get myself a straight razor, but I'm not really sure what's best for beginners. My biggest fear is that I'm going to cut my face up because I'm inexperienced, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so what I'm going to do is then say, hey, I saw some great options compared on this site and I'm leaning towards the from. And then I'll put a link to my article comparing the best straight razors. I've set myself a budget of 150 plus a few accessories. What do you recommend? So you can just follow this script and change it so that instead of about shaving, it's about your niche. So maybe let's do a different example. Let's say it's running shoes, and you've got an article, best running shoes. Maybe you say, hey, I want to get back into running, but I'm not really sure what type of shoe I should get. I want one which gives me good protection for my shins because I've had shin problems when running before. I'm interested in some of the ones on this website, link. Has anyone got a recommendation or any experience with any of these shoes? And that's it. some of those groups will know what you're doing. They'll say, hey, I know what you're doing, and they might ban you, but whatever. Hopefully there's like thousands, dozens of different Facebook groups, so you win some, you lose some. So some of the groups, though, will be really helpful, and they will click on the links and they'll give you advice. Don't worry too much if they criticize the article. You know, they may say, oh, that's not true. You know, pay attention to what they say, but if they're criticizing the article but they're giving you advice, just be helpful, and you know, be grateful and say thanks a lot. And here's the thing, some of them are going to click on the links on that article and they may not buy the products on there, but it's Amazon, so chances are they'll buy something from Amazon, and you've given them a 24-hour cookie, and you're going to get you might capture a sale that way, especially if you do it in like Black Friday weekend or December or something like that. Yeah, and then with Facebook groups, threads kind of scroll to the bottom. So if it's been like a few days, you can comment again and say, hey, thanks for all the feedback, guys. It's really helpful. And you could even say something like, oh, I bought this one. Thanks for the recommendation. And what that's going to do is that's going to kind of bounce that post back to the top of the Facebook group, so more people will read it and you might get more sales as well. And it's quite possible that you'll get a sale just from doing this in one group. So if you do it in 10 groups, think how powerful that could be. And this is something you can do over and over again. Maybe you could create a new persona and come in and ask the same question. Or maybe you could say later, hey guys, I bought a straight razor based on your recommendation, so I also wanted to know what shaving brush you recommend. I was looking at this article again here, this one, and I wanted to know what your opinion is. And you know, you can just rinse and repeat it, and I'll talk about that more later. So for now, let's jump back and look at part 2 of the forum strategy. So let's say you've now waited 5 to 7 days, you've commented on a few threads, so your site's looking more legitimate. Hopefully now, you've done some posts. So what you're going to do is you're going to look for any existing threads in the forum that are related to your niche, like some shaving websites, some shaving forums I know have a best straight razor for beginners thread, so I could comment in there. If there isn't one that you think is relevant, then just start your own. So we're going to use a similar template to what we did in Facebook. So very simple, just like this. Hey guys, great discussion going here, some solid advice. I've set myself a budget of $150 for my first straight razor, and I'm still not sure which one to get. I've been reading some reviews on this site, and then you insert your link, and I'm considering the From or the Dovo. Those are brands of straight razors. Does anyone here actually own either of these? What are your experiences? Again, some of them will delete your thread. Some forums you might find that you haven't done enough posts yet to put a link in. But some of them, they'll be really helpful and they'll answer your question, and you're going to get traffic, and it's going to be really good, and this post could bring you traffic for months and months because more and more people find it, and they start reading the advice that everyone gave, and they read your article and so on. Obviously, if you're creating a new post, don't add the great discussion going here part. But you can just kind of follow this template. And yeah, if you do find that the forum you're in doesn't let you post a link yet, or it doesn't let you make your link clickable yet because you haven't done enough posts, just make a note of that and come back to it a week later or whenever you have passed the minimum post count. And again, don't worry if people criticize you or if they say, hey, we know what you're doing. The point is, if you join 10 forums and you've done the work before, you've made your site, you've made your account look legitimate, and you've done some posts, you will get traffic from it. I've got traffic from it before as well, as I've shown in a different video. And you will probably get a sale. So, I mean, that's great for you. Okay, so the last thing I want to talk about is scaling. So even though the whole purpose of this video is to get your first sale, it's very possible for you to just keep doing this. And if it's going to take you 6 months for your website to rank in Google, this is something you could do every month. Um, I just want to say some forums and Facebook groups will delete your thread or remove your link or say, hey, we know what you're doing, but don't worry about it. Some will be really helpful and will give you good advice, and they might even pin your post, like make it a featured post, which is going to be amazing. Some of them may say, oh, this is a terrible website. Some of them may say, hey, this is a great website. I find it just doesn't matter. There's always, especially in forums, there's always these kind of know-it-all guys that want to criticize stuff. And if there's a glaring mistake on the website, fix it. But don't worry if they criticize it. Make a note of what works, like what type of comment got the best engagement. Make a note of which forums you've had success with, and then just rinse and repeat it. So if it's a forum, you can create more accounts and do the same thing. Create a new account, age it, use a fresh IP address so that it's not obvious that you're the same person. You could maybe even pay people on Fiverr to create different accounts for you. You can join new Facebook groups, and you can also post again with your previous accounts in the first groups. So you could say something like, hey, I asked you guys before what running shoes I should get, and I got some really good advice. So now I wanted to ask what, running earphones I should get. Just anything that's relevant is going to be really good. And or you could come in as a new user and say, hey, what running earphones should I get? So there's lots of different things, try different things. Another good thing is you're going to get loads of ideas for new content because you'll see what questions other beginners are asking and you'll think, hey, I should do an article about that. And you'll also learn a lot more about your niche as well. So not only are you going to be able to get sales, but you're going to get a lot better at a lot more knowledgeable. So new posts mean you're going to get more traffic and sales, but also your old posts, some of them are going to be around for months and they're going to bring traffic like every day to your site. It's going to be a small amount, maybe 3 visits a day, but if you do this for 6 months, you can get loads and loads of traffic over the course. And it's a really good source for sales while you're waiting for the kind of organic Google traffic to come in. So this is a really powerful tactic. I've seen success with it myself. I've seen others do it. I've seen others do it who I don't even know. I've just seen them doing it in Facebook groups and forums. And it's just a case of getting started and not worrying that some of them will get criticism or deleted, because did it really take you that much effort to create one post? Probably not. So keep going and you will be able to scale it as well. So that's the end of the video. As always, you can comment below with any questions you might have, and I'm really looking forward to seeing your results because I know some of you are going to make some income right away with it.